Welcome students. In this video we are going to discuss another type of token, and that is literals, and in detail. Okay. Now literals are the data items that have fixed values, unlike variables whose values can change at any point of time during the execution of the program. So since literals have fixed values and therefore they are also called constants. Okay. Now let us understand what actually a literal is. Suppose you have an expression like this: a is equal to 10. Okay, so here the value 10 is the literal. So in simple language you can say that a literal is a variable, is a item that you assign to a variable, or the value that you assign to a variable. So what happens in memory? You will have a variable a pointing to the location where value 10 is stored. So this value which is getting stored in this memory location is the literal. Okay. Now it is not that you can always assign integer kind of value to a variable. You can assign any kind of value to your variable, like you can assign a string value. Suppose I write Ravi, which is a string value. I can assign a float value like 3.14. Okay. Then I can assign another value, say complex value like 2 plus 3j. So you can assign different types of values to a variable. One more example, a is equal to true, which comes under the Boolean category. So there are various types of values that you can assign to a variable, and all these types of values that you are assigning to a variable are called literals. Okay. So in this statement, see, this I told you is the literal, this is an operator, and this one is identifier. So we have already discussed what is identifier, what is operator, and now we are discussing what is literal. Okay, so let us see what are the various types of literals. The first type of literal is numeric literal, which means numbers. Means whenever you want to give a numeric kind of value to a variable, then for that we make use of numeric literals, within which comes the integer literal, float literal, and complex literal. Okay. Then the second category is Boolean literal, which has two values, that is true and false. Then we have a special literal called none. So this none has a special role in assigning values to a variable, and that we'll discuss in detail. Then the last category is string literal, means values of this kind are called as the string literal. And now I'll take up these literals in detail. Now I am going to take up in numeric literals in detail, within which come the integer literals, float literals, and Boolean literals. Okay. So first of all, see what is integer literal. So children, integer, as you know, is a number without any fractional part, or you can simply say integer is a whole number. Okay. Now, for example, any number which is not having decimal point, like 71 or 489, and it can be positive as well as negative. So see, I have made this one negative. So integers are whole numbers without any fractional part, and these can be positive as well as negative. Okay. Now these integers are of three types. First one is decimal integer literal, which means, as you know, that deci stands for 10. Therefore this type of literal can be composed of 10 digits which range from 0 to 9. Means all the integer literals of this category will be made up of digits from 0 to 9 only. Okay. And any sequence of such digits which is not starting with 0 is said to be decimal integer literal. So the important thing here is that your decimal integer literal can have any number of zeros, but it should not have 0 in the beginning. Okay. So for example, 48 1079. Okay. If you write 087, this is wrong. This is not allowed because this number is starting with 0. So your number can have any number of zeros, but it should not have a 0 in the beginning. So such a literal which is composed of digits from 0 to 9 and is not starting with 0 is called decimal integer literal. Then the next category is octal integer literal. Now you know that octal stands for 8. So such integers are composed of 8 digits which range from 0 to 7. Okay. So any sequence of digits containing 0 to 7 is called octal integer literal. But the thing is, such literals must start with 0O. Now why this difference is there? Why is this condition is there that these decimal integer literals should not start with 0 and these octals should start with 0O? Remember, this is O. 0O. Okay. So why is this condition? Because the range of numbers with which they are composed is common. Like 0 to 7 is present in decimal also. So how will you differentiate that this particular number is decimal integer literal or octal integer literal? Because so in this case you have 48. So 8 is not coming in this range, so you can say it is a decimal integer literal. But if I write 43, now this 43 is composed of 4 and 3, which is present in this range also and this range also. So how will you differentiate that this 43 belongs to octal integer literal and or this belongs to decimal integer literal? And this is the reason why they have given this condition that if you are making any octal integer literal, then you should start it with 0O. Okay, so any number, any sequence of digits composed of this range and starting with 0O is considered to be an octal integer literal. So for example, if I want to write this 43, then I should write it 0O 43. Okay, or I can say 0O 12. Clear? So such a number has to start with 0O. Then the third category is hexadecimal integer literal. Now you know that hexa stands for 6 and decimal stands for 10. So this integer is composed of 16 digits which range from 0 to 9. Okay, as you know, in your system on your keyboard you have only these digits 0 to 9. But how to represent 10 to 15? For that we make use of capital letters A to F. So A corresponds to 10, B corresponds to 11, C corresponds to 12 and this way 15 corresponds to F. This we have already studied in Boolean logic. Okay, so any number, any sequence of digits starting with composed of these digits and starting with 0x. This x can be capital as well as a small. Now one thing to notice here, that why this condition again is there that it should start with 0x, because you see that this particular range is common. Few elements are common with octal also and few elements are common with decimal also. Okay, almost all the elements are common with decimal. So in this way, how will you differentiate? So that is why this condition is there that you must begin a hexadecimal integer constant by 0x, and this x can be small as well as capital. Okay, so for example 0x A F. Now see, A is 10 and F is 15. Okay, then another example is like 0 x capital 8 9. Now one thing you see here, if I write 0 O 7 8, then this particular one will be wrong in case of octal integer constant. Why? Because it is starting with 0O. This means that it is octal integer literal. But how can 8 come in this range? You know that octal numbers cannot be composed of digits apart 0 to 7. So यहाँ तो 8 आ रहा है. So this 8 is invalid and that is why this one will be invalid literal. Okay. So remember this thing. And here you are seeing that these are the examples of hexadecimal integer literals. So these are the three types of literals. Okay. So literals in short are the data items which are composed of which must not contain any decimal part. Okay. Then the next type of numeric literal is float. Now float here, children, are the numbers having fractional part, means those numbers which have a decimal point in them. Okay, and this is opposite to integers, because in case of integers you were not allowed to have a decimal point. So any number with the decimal point is said to be a fractional, is said to be a float number or float literal, and these are also called real literals because they represent the real quantities. Like suppose you want to express weight of a person, then that weight has to be means appropriate weight, not just rounded up weight. Okay, so in that case we make use of float literals. Like for another example, like you want to store percentage of a student, then that percentage is often in the real form, means in the fractional form. So that such kind of values can be represented with the help of float literals. Okay, now these float literals are expressed in two forms. The first one is fractional form. Now in case of fractional form, what happens, this is just the normal way we write any fractional number. For example, 3.14. Okay, now this 3.14 or any fractional number can be positive as well as negative. So I take up another example, like suppose 51.65. Okay, so these can be positive as well as negative. But here is a rule that such a float literal which is expressed in fractional form must have at least one digit. Okay, it must have at least one digit, and that digit can be preceded or succeeded by a decimal point. This much is necessary. Like for example, if you want to write 0.5, then you can simply write point and then 5. There is no need to precede it with 0. Okay, like in other languages, if you wanted to write 0.5, then you have to put 0 in front. In other languages, what was the rule? That with the decimal point, you must have at least one digit before the decimal point and one digit after the decimal point. But this is not the case with Python. In case of Python, our decimal literal must have at least one digit and either preceded or succeeded by decimal point. So this 0.5 can be simply written as 0.5 like this. It is not necessary to precede it with 0. Okay, and if you wanted to write 5.0, suppose you want to write 5 point, then you can simply write 5 point and that's it. This is not invalid here. Okay, this is considered perfectly okay. Clear? In the same way, suppose you want to write minus 1.6. So such way of expressing a float literal is called as a fractional form. Okay, now another way to represent fractional numbers is exponent form, in which you have two parts, mantissa and exponent, separated by the letter small e or capital E. Now first of all, let me take up an example. Suppose you are writing 3.6 capital E minus 4. Okay. Now another example, 34.68 E. This time I am taking small e, 8. So here you can see that this portion before E is the mantissa. Okay, and the portion after E is the exponent. Okay, in the same way in this number also, this portion is mantissa and this portion, this portion is mantissa and this portion is exponent. Now remember, there is a rule about it. The mantissa part can be an integer, means a proper integer literal, or it can be a float literal in fractional form. तो ये जो mantissa है, ये या तो एक इंटीजर हो सकता है या फिर एक फ्लोट लिटरल इन फ्रैक्शनल फॉर्म लाइक दिस. ओके, एंड इट कैन बी पॉजिटिव एज वेल एज नेगेटिव. लेकिन ये जो एक्सपोनेंट है, इट शुड ओनली बी एन इंटीजर, एंड दिस इंटीजर, as you know, can be positive as well as negative. So exponent can be only integer and mantissa can be an integer or a float, literal and fractional form. You have right now studied what is fractional form. Clear? So this way of expressing any float literal is called fractional, is called exponent form of float literal. Now I am taking up an example with the help of which I will show you how to express a float literal in exponent form. Okay. Now suppose I have a number, say 346.12. This is a float literal in fractional form. Now if I want to express this fractional form literal in exponent form, then what I have to do? I have to, actually this exponent form is 10 raised to power something. So whatever is the power of 10, that becomes the exponent. Okay. Now see, if this is the number, then I can express this number as this way also, 3.4612 into 10 raised to power 2. Okay, I can write it this way, and if I solve it, I'll get this number only. So this is the right way of expressing this float literal. Now see, the portion which is this will become the mantissa, and this portion, that is the power of 10, will become the exponent. Now see how I express it, 3.4612, then E2. So this 2 is representing the power of 10, and this portion becomes the mantissa. Understood? Now in the same way, if I shift this decimal point one position ahead, for example, if I take up 34.6123, suppose this is my fractional number. Okay, and I want to express it as exponent form. Then in that case, I can express it, I can write it like 34612.3, and in this case I will have to write power of -3, right? So if I evaluate it, I'll get this number only. Okay, so this is the right way of expressing this number. And now if I want to express it as exponent form, then this portion will become mantissa and this portion will become the exponent. So my number will become 34612.3 E minus 3. So see, this is the way we can convert a float literal in fractional form into the exponent form. So these are the two ways of expressing any fractional number. So first is the fractional form, second is the exponent form. In the sequence we have complex literals. Now complex literals are also numeric literals, and numbers expressed in a plus bj form are called as the complex literals. Okay, now see this, in this form a plus bj, here the variable j represents under root of -1, and these are the same as imaginary numbers in your mathematics. Okay, so in this form, the portion before this sign is the real part, and the portion with the variable j is the imaginary part. Okay, so let us take up an example. Suppose this is a variable m with which is having a complex value. Okay, so remember that this real part of the complex number is always real as well as imaginary. Both these portions are always in float form. Whether you write it in integer or you write it explicitly as float, they will always be interpreted as float by the system. Now, for example, if this is my number, then you can see that m is having 3.6 as the real part and 4 as the fractional, as the imaginary part. Okay, so if I want to extract the real part of this complex number, then we have two attributes named as real and IMAG. These will help me to extract the real and imaginary part of any complex number. So if I want to find the real part of this imaginary number, then I should write m dot real. This will fetch me the real part of the fractional number n. So answer will be 3.6. Okay. Now if I want to extract the imaginary part, then I will have to write m dot IMAG. This will fetch me the imaginary part of this complex number, but its result will be in fractional form only. So see, you can see that it is 4 of integer, but when you see its output will be 4.0. Okay, in order to show you that this is also a float number, तो आप चाहे इसको integer लिखिए चाहे float लिखिए, real and imaginary part will be interpreted as float only. और अगर आपने float नहीं दिया है तो वो 0.0 लगा के उसको float बना लेगा. ठीक है? So this is the way we can extract the real and imaginary part. And now you can perform. Suppose you want to take input of a complex number from user, then for that what you have to do, I have already told you how to take input of integer and float from user. Okay, so if you want to take input of complex number, so we have a function called complex. Okay, and this complex, you know that we take input using input function. So you will ask the user to enter a complex number. Okay, now what will happen? User will give you a complex number, say he gives as 4 plus 6j. Okay, but this 4 plus 6j will be accepted as a string by input function, and this complex function will convert it into a number of complex form, and then it will be allotted to n. Okay, so this way you can take input of a complex number, and if you are not able to understand it right now, then you can refer to the video in which I have explained simple input and output, and there I have explained how to take input of a value from user. So in that case I have told how to take input of integer and float. So if you want to take input of a complex number, then in that case you have to make use of complex function. The result returned by input function will be converted into complex, but yes, it should be a complex convertible string. You know that this receives the input in the form of a string. तो ये जो string है वो ऐसी form की होनी चाहिए that can be converted into complex number and then assigned to n. ठीक है? Now you can perform operations also. Suppose you have 4 plus 6.2j. Okay, and then you can add these two. Suppose you have 3 plus 4j. If you want to add these, then what is the result? Imaginary and imaginary parts will be added, and the real and real parts will be added. So 4 plus 3 will give 7. Okay, and 7.0 I should write, and 6.2 plus 4 will give me 10.2. So 10.2j. This will be my answer. Okay, so you can perform addition and subtraction also of complex numbers. Okay, so this is the complex literal. And these were the various types of numeric literals. And now I am going to discuss the Boolean literal in detail. Boolean literals are the literals which have just two values, and that is 0 and 1, which is represented by true and false. And this true has the T capital. Okay, you can actually write it as TRUE, where T is capital and rest is a small. In the same way, this false is written as F capital and ALSE in small. So these are the two values which represent the truth value. For example, these are used in situations like you are comparing something. And suppose you are comparing A greater than B, then the result of this expression can be either true or false, depending upon the values of A and B. Right? So this A and B are compared and the result will be in this form. So such kind of results are represented using Boolean literals. Okay. Then the next literal is non-literal. Now this literal is used to indicate the absence of value. Means, see, sometimes what happens, see, actually in Python, whenever you have to create a variable, then a variable is created only when you assign a value to it. and this point I have made it clear in the video of variables and assignments. You can refer to that. Okay. So a variable in Python is created only when you assign a value to it. Now suppose you want to make a variable and right now you don't know what value to assign to it. उसको क्या value देनी है अभी आपको नहीं मालूम, but later on you'll give the value as and when required. Then in that case you can give none value to your variable and this will help you create a variable without even having any value. तो जब आप किसी variable को none देते हैं तो actually में उसमें कोई value नहीं है, लेकिन this is a value that with the help of which you can create a variable. Okay, so suppose I have taken an example here. Say a is equal to none. Okay, N-O-N-E, then N is capital. Then a is equal to none, and in this I have given b is equal to 10. So we have two different variables a and b. So if I print a, if I simply write this in front of the prompt, then you know what happens? Nothing is displayed, because this none, when it is displayed, then it is actually like blank line. Nothing gets displayed. Okay. Not even blank line. As soon as you will write this, you will get the next prompt. So this will seem as if nothing is getting printed. Okay. And if you write B, then you will get the answer as 10. तो यहाँ देखिए, यहाँ पे आपको कुछ भी डिस्प्ले नहीं हुआ, लेकिन यहाँ पे 10 डिस्प्ले हुआ. लेकिन one thing is special about none. If you give the variable containing none within print function, then prints none. See how? If you give print a, then in this case you know what the output will be? None. So if you want to see what value is contained in a, then you can see it by passing this variable a in the print function. So when print function will print this variable, then it will show you that it has none. But if you print it directly, then nothing will come on the output. Okay. And if you give print b, then b will be printed as 10 only. Okay, so this is the importance of non-literal, and you will see many more importance of non-literal as you study the language. Okay, so these was the different types of numeric, boolean and non-literal. And now in my next video I am going to discuss string literals in detail, because strings have quite more concepts, and those have to be discussed in little bit detail. So I am taking up string literal in the next video. Thank you, children.